Welcome to Walls on Wire. Today we're talking about Hilman Idham's recent statements regarding a high-profile arrest that has really stirred up a national conversation.
Yes, it definitely has. It's not just about the arrest itself, is it?
Yeah.
It really highlights this friction we often see between political promises and let's say, the tough realities of actually being in power.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating look at political accountability, maybe, especially how leaders navigate pledges they made before, versus the tools they end up using once they govern.
Precisely. And the arrest of a prominent opposition figure using laws that are, frankly, often debated. Well, that's certainly become a major talking point.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. We're focusing on the comments from Hilman Idham, the youth chief for Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia.
Right, he was speaking at their youth assembly recently.
And his remarks were directly about the arrest of another leader from his party, Badrul Hisham Shaharin, who most people know as Chegubard.
Yeah, and what's really striking here is how direct Hilman Idham was. He essentially accused the Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, of going back on his word.
Specifically about the Sedition Act, right? That promise.
Exactly, the promise regarding the Sedition Act. So this isn't just, typical political back and forth. It hits at something deeper about governance, integrity, and the promises made during campaigns.
So, backing up a step, what actually led to the arrest? What happened there?
Well, from what's been reported, Badrul Hisham Shaharin was arrested by police on September 4th.
Okay.
And this followed actions by the authorities, specifically the Bukit Aman Criminal Investigation Department. They identified a TikTok account.
Ah, the video.
It apparently posted a video showing Chegubard making statements that the authorities considered, seditious.
Right. So the police acted based on reports about that video.
That seems to be the case. And the investigation is proceeding under actually several laws. It's not just one.
Okay, which ones are involved?
There's Section 4.1 of the Sedition Act 1948, which is often about speech that could cause disaffection against the government or stir up ill will.
Right, the main one being discussed.
Yes. But also Section 505B of the Penal Code, that one deals more with statements likely to cause public mischief or fear, maybe alarming the public.
Yep, okay.
And then there's Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998. That's more about the misuse of network facilities, like posting offensive content online.
So a fairly broad legal approach, then.
It covers the alleged speech and how it was spread online, yes. Serious charges.
Okay, now this is where it gets, let's say, politically charged. Hilman Idham's speech at the Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia Youth Assembly in Shah Alam just a couple of days later, on September 6th, he really didn't mince words, did he?
No, he didn't hold back at all. He aimed his comments directly at the Prime Minister.
What was the core message?
It was incredibly pointed. He basically said, and this is pretty close to his words, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, you once promised to abolish the Sedition Act. Now you are using this very act to defend your power.
Wow, this is stark.
It is, and it immediately raises that difficult question, doesn't it? About the gap between the rhetoric you use campaigning, maybe even genuinely believe in, and the pressures and choices you face once you're actually governing.
Using the tools you once swore off.
Exactly. How leaders end up navigating these tools they once vowed to get rid of. It's a complex situation.
And he didn't stop there, right? There was a closing statement, too.
Yes, a very powerful closing, almost like a warning. He said something along the lines of, we want you to remember, this world is round. When the time comes, Bersatu Youth will definitely ensure that you are ousted from Putrajaya.
Ousted from Putrajaya, meaning from power itself. That's about as direct a challenge as you can get.
It really is. It signals a strong belief in, political fortunes changing and a clear statement of intent from the opposition's youth wing.
It really highlights that tension you mentioned earlier.
It absolutely does. That dynamic between campaigning for reforms, maybe championing free speech when you're in opposition, and then finding yourself using existing laws to, maintain order or stability once you're in charge.
Is this common, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's not unique to Malaysia at all. Leaders everywhere face pressures, security, public order, political challenges that can make it very hard to just abandon a law like the Sedition Act, especially one with such broad potential application, even if they criticized it before.
Even if they genuinely wanted to change it.
Possibly. The practicalities of governing can be quite different from the ideals expressed beforehand. The Sedition Act's wording, for example, is quite broad, making it a tool that different governments might find, useful, even if controversially so.
So this whole incident, ticked off by Hilman Idham's critique, obviously has immediate political heat. But you said it touches on bigger things. How does it magnify the whole debate around the Sedition Act itself here?
Well, that's where you see the wider significance. This isn't just about this specific arrest or statement. It puts the Sedition Act right back under the spotlight.
A law with a long, often contentious history.
Exactly. It's been used by different governments, often against opponents or critics. So when a government led by someone who previously advocated for its repeal uses it, it almost inevitably sparks accusations of, well, hypocrisy or selective prosecution.
Regardless of the specifics of the alleged offense itself.
Often, yes, the focus shifts. It can erode public trust, make people question if political ideals hold firm once power is attained. It's a classic democratic tension, balancing security and order with freedom of speech and dissent.
It feels like the tools of governing themselves become part of the political fight. The focus shifts to how something is being done, maybe even more than what was done.
That's a very good way to put it. And it loops back to political accountability, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How accountable are politicians for their past statements, their pledges? When circumstances change, when you move from opposition to government, how much room is there really to adapt your stance on fundamental issues like this? It's a really tough balance.
Between sticking to your guns ideologically and the practical needs of running a country.
Precisely. Managing public opinion, dealing with political challenges, ensuring stability, these can lead to decisions that seem to contradict earlier promises. And the public watches this very closely.
They certainly do. People are trying to figure out if it's about principles holding firm or if it's pragmatism or maybe something else entirely taking over.
It forces everyone, leaders and citizens alike, to weigh the challenges of governing against the ideals we expect. It's part of how a democracy figures things out, how it matures, perhaps.
It really does make you think, doesn't it? This whole situation isn't just political drama. It pushes us, as people watching this unfold, to think about power, promises, and these laws that really do shape our society. What do you think about that balance, between past promises and the pressures of governing, especially with laws like the Sedition Act? It's a fundamental question about trust, really.
Understanding these tensions is critical, I think. It's not just abstract political science. It affects how we see our leaders, how stable we feel our institutions are. When those promises meet the reality of power, the choices made really can shape public trust and the direction of political conversation for a long time.
Well, this has been really illuminating. We've looked at the specifics around Chegubard's arrest, Hilman Idham's very strong response targeting the Prime Minister, and sort of zoomed out to see the bigger picture for political accountability and these legal frameworks.
Yes, these kinds of events, they force us all to engage more deeply with the principles underpinning our democracy and how our political landscape is constantly shifting.
Thank you for joining us on Woz and Wire.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.